right. We good to go? All right. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Zach Iskell. I am the Commissioner for Emergency Management. Today, we saw some significant winds come through the city, specifically here in Bensonhurst between 3:30 and 3:45. Initial reports from the NWS are showing that these were straight line winds of up to 70 miles per hour. You can see the amount of damage that was done. Fortunately, nobody was seriously injured. I want to just start by thanking the FDNY, the NYPD, EMS for their immediate and quick response to this event. This is sort of the new normal that we're facing now in New York City. We talk about climate change all the time. You can see that we're seeing it. You see it in the floodings that just occurred up in Vermont, in upstate New York. You see it in the high heat that we're getting in the Southwest. You saw it with the air pollution we got in the city because of wildfires. You see it in some of the flash flooding events, and you see it in events like this. And so as we reach this new normal, the city is doing a lot of things to make sure that we are prepared, to make sure we're doing all we can to protect New Yorkers. Not only do we have the immediate response from our first responders tonight, but we have an interagency process that is now taking place. Sanitation, parks, FDNY, NYPD, MTA, DOT, and others are now working together. Tomorrow we'll have crews out here clearing the streets, but the priority is always life safety. Also, just want to encourage all New Yorkers to make sure that you're doing all you can to prepare for these types of weather events. Most important thing you can be doing is signing up for Notify NYC. You can sign up at nyc.gov/notify. You can also sign up by calling 311 or by downloading the app in the App Store. And again, that's the primary mechanism by which you can make sure you have the information you need to stay safe during these types of events, to be aware of weather events. We have heat coming at the end of this week that we need to prepare for. We have the potential for flash floods, all of these things that we need to be known about. I'm now going to turn it over to Chief Pfeiffer First Deputy Commissioner Pfeiffer from the Fire Department to talk a little bit about the initial response. So, First Deputy Pfeiffer.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner. This evening we responded to what you see here, trees down from high winds. And the fire department responded to make sure people had access to their homes, that if they had to, they could get out. We also searched the cars to make sure nobody was trapped in the cars. And we had, during this incident, we had one minor injury. So we were very fortunate this evening that we only had one minor injury. But what you saw tonight, as a Commissioner of OEM mentioned, is a prelude of climate change and the events we have to deal with. But what you also saw tonight was the response of multiple agencies, our fire department with our firefighters and emergency medical personnel, NYPD, the police department, and emergency management. And that's one thing the city should be proud of, that we come together during emergencies like this and we make sure that people are safe and they could have access to their homes during this emergency. So now we'll take any questions for.
So sorry, we're about to go on the air. Can you give us a count of how many trees, how many cars, how many homes have been impacted on this road?
Yeah, so we're still getting a count. One of the things that we do is we start monitoring 311 calls. The initial reports, we're seeing a few dozen trees, but we're still monitoring those impacts and getting an assessment. And we'll have some teams coming out here to further assess the amount of damage out here.
And is that in the entire neighborhood or just along the parkway?
So far, we're looking at maybe a dozen and a half trees. But again, these are just initial reports, and so we're still waiting for more information to come in.
Sorry, just to clarify, on the parkway specifically or in the whole neighborhood?
In this area in specific, I don't know if it's just specifically this area, but the initial reports I've heard is that a dozen and a half trees in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, we're still monitoring. We still have to have assessment teams come out here and do more of an impact assessment. And then we'll have cleanup crews coming tomorrow morning to start doing the work. Thank you.
Can you elaborate on that minor injury?
So EMS responded into the scene. We got reports of possible people trapped, as you guys already heard. We sent our rescue paramedics in to assess in case there was anybody trapped. Thankfully, that wasn't the situation, and we just had one minor injury to a civilian who had come out of the house, and a tree branch had fell on their shoulder.
This ended up being just a big mess. Unfortunately, not more than that. But when you see all of that, the fact that there was one thing that surprised you, how do you react?
Yeah, I think as you survey the damage, I think we could say we got really lucky today. There was a lot of damage. A lot of cars got hit with branches, but luckily there wasn't a lot of structural damage. And yeah, I think New York has got an eye-opener today, and we're all really lucky at the outcome.
Can I ask a question? We were first hearing reports of a possible tornado, but you're saying straight line winds is a more accurate term, or is it not determined yet?
NWS still has to do their assessment, but what we're hearing initially from NWS, it was straight line winds up to 70 miles per hour, not a tornado. But again, still early, and they've got to do their full assessment.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Do you know how recently the trees have been inspected? Is that
I don't know that. I'm sorry. Thank you.
how about power outages? Trees? What about
There were
the
no
trees?
reports of power outages.
What about the trees?
Yeah.
The tree
All right.
that's
Thank
got
you,
the
guys.
wall.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tree that's got the wall in another house. This is my house. No, I don't want to be on that.
She's right about that.
I know we got to talk about leadership.